Welcome to the II Preview Show with me, Davey B, and Dog Guesser. And we're going to be previewing this evening's card at Donny Dogs live on RPG TV. Let's get into the action. Race 1 is an A3 over 483 metres. Millcroft Fred in 1, Sparta Coco in 2, Ballyregan Bella in 3, Raymores Rustic in 4, Mirror Image in 5, and in 6, A Long Long Road. Dog Guesser, what do you fancy?
I've ended up siding with Sparta Coco. To be honest, it's not really a bitch that I'm fond of. I thought she run decent enough last week. She'll clear the 2. She'll hold the 3, same as she did last week. The 4's got a massive downgrade in class. The only problem with that is it didn't really show a lot last week. I know it did a 30-50 in behind dogs, but didn't really show any sort of early zip or show anything where it's going to get a pitch into the race. Mirror Image, on the other hand, I thought showed a little bit of something. If the 6-1 was available, that's in the racing post, I'd be keen on sort of taking that and taking a chance with it. I thought it showed a bit of early and got done on the run up, and then show pace down the back as well. A long, long road. I couldn't have it reversing the form with Millcroft Fred from last week. Sorry, upholding the form with Fred, because Fred got done absolutely everywhere, and he's gone down probably like half a length, or maybe a neck, something like that. Fred's actually got a decent makeup here, but I do think the 2 will lead, and I think once the 2 gets on the skin, I think that'll be enough, and I think it'll go on and win. But again, it wouldn't be a race. I'd be mad keen to get involved on it around 5-2. So I'd just I'd play Sparta Coco about 3-1, 7-2 plus.
So Dog Guesser's selection in race 1 is trap 2, Sparta Coco. Moving on to race 2 is an A3 over 483 metres. Lingholm Louis in 1, Easy Catch in 2, Springwood Adele in 3, Roisin's Lily in 4, Nighttime Champ in 5, and in 6, Keedy Wonder. Dog Guesser, what do you fancy?
I've sided with Easy Catch in 2. It actually made the race last week for Millcroft Magic, but the red inside, I think he's a bit of a thinker, and I don't think he likes to get on with it when he hits the front. He looked like he was turning his head, sort of coming home last week as well. I wouldn't necessarily condemn him just yet, because he was way off the pace at the time, but he just looked like he didn't want to crack on with it. So for me, I think the 1 will lead inside, the 2 will probably follow it round, and then the 2 will go past it. The interesting runner would be Nighttime Champ, because if the 1 is going to like mess about, and sort of the 6 will be the same as well, and the 4 would be a bit of a dodge as well. If it slowed the race down, the 5 could get involved as well. But yeah, I'd be with Easy Catch. I'd be happy to play about 3-1 plus.
So Dog Guesser's selection in race 2 is trap 2, Easy Catch. Race 3 is a B5 over 450 metres. Bernie Bolt in 1, Lutton's Aussie in 2, 009 in 3, Dream on Bob in 4, Lady Mole in 5, and in 6, Ballymac Maggie. Dog Guesser, what do you fancy?
I've actually napped Bernie Bolt. Lutton's Aussie steps off from the 2 box. He steps off at the bend anyway. He's a bit of a big, clumsy dog. 0-9 on that basis, I won't be able to have it on the draw. Dream on Bob, it's really paceless, especially against these. 6 is going to cut down on the 5. That was the only thing putting me off Lady Moll, who actually won on debut on Wednesday night. Lady Moll would have a right chance here, but the only thing is, like I say, is the 6 cutting across it, and the 6 is pretty much on the rail at the bend as well. But I just think the 1 will lead the inside, the 2 will step off, the 6 is cutting down. I think it'll be a mess in behind, and I think Bernie Bolt, I think, is a really good thing here. It's 4-1 in the post. I'd be surprised when this goes out if it's much sort of 2-1 available. I'd be more like 4-5 even money. So yeah, I'd be napping this.
So Dog Guesser's selection in race 3 is Bernie Bolt, and that's his nap. Race 4 is a B4 over 450 metres. Ryu Abbey in 1, Tirmana Diva in 2, Rising Luna in 3, Soundman in 4, Clohina Bow in 5, and in 6, final slate. Dog guesser, what do you fancy?
In truth, I don't. I I think I made the 2, 4, and the 1, 2, and 4 the 5-2 sort of co-favourites. The 1 and the 2 probably both have to lead. The 2 did it well last week, or the week before, I think it was, when it was on the card. The 4's got a fair decent downgrade. It showed sort of snatches of pace. The trials aren't very good. I mean, even the trial, the 28:45, I don't think that's quite right in terms of the going allowance given that day. The Pelo form isn't, anything special, but, it's still quite a youngish dog. It's got a decent enough makeup with the 3 probably cutting into the rail a little bit and the 5 edging off more of a wide course. Yeah, like I say, I wouldn't really want to take a view on this. I'd be sort of 1, 2, or 4. I'd probably play whichever goes the biggest. I don't think there's anything between them, and I don't think the 6 is running well at all. I think the last 2 runs it's been stinking really. So yeah, 1, 2, 4, just no real opinion. But if I had to pick one, I'd go with Soundman, I think.
So dog guessers going Dutch in on race 4 with 1, 2, and 4. But if you had to pick anything, it would be trap 4, Soundman. Race 5 is a B7 over 450 metres. Ballymacdarrell in 1, Curry Hills Towie in 2, Breakaday Ebony in 3, Springside Leilu in 4, Black Scorpio in 5, and in 6, Luton's Tracy. Dog guesser, what do you fancy?
I think Ballymacdarrell's a penalty kick. He would be my next best. Yeah, basically the 2's paceless. The 3 just misses the break every week. The 4 isn't running well. The 5 led last week and got picked up off some dog off Mulclare Doan and Ballymacdarrell as well. And the 2 scuppered the 1 a little bit last week and then run on again and run quite well. Luton's Tracy would be interesting out of the 6. It's got a trial time there of 28:71, but again, I'm not quite sure how true that is. But Ballymacdarrell's a 29 dead dog, and I think the rest of them are 29:40 dogs. He looks, like I said, I've got him in 8-13. He looks a penalty kick. He's going to lead the insides. He's going to make the corner. The 5 might lead, and if the 5 leads, he'll back run the 5 anyway. So, yeah, like I said, I've got him about 8-13. I think he's a good thing. He'd be my next best on the card, but he's only 11-8 in the post, hence he's not my nap.
So dog guesser's selection in race 5 is trap 1, Ballymacdarrell, and that's his next best. Race 6 is a D3 over 275 metres. Kingsmill Coyote in 1, Alchemist Duke in 2, Kaliski Duke in 3, Magale Blue in 4, Rahina Alone in 5, and in 6, Ballymac Biljo. Dog guesser, what do you fancy?
I've sided with Kingsmill Coyote. I put him in about 6-4. Look, he's going to lead the inside. There's not a lot of immediate pace on his outside. He's beaten the 2 and the 3 last week, and the 5 and the 6. They all run against each other. He got enough trouble off the off Milcroft Olivia that was on his inside that day. I think the switch to 1 will help him, and I just think he'll go around here and win. The 4 would be the danger for Martin A4, and I think it's run a good race last week, albeit like much lesser class. But it has got some nice early pace. But if you look back at the run against Ballymac Biljo, where it actually eased the bend and it looked like it'd been off lane then. But if you look at the pace and compare the 2, I'd sooner have the 1. I think the 1's got more pace up as well. And if the 1 makes the bend or turns even close to the 4, the 1 will win. So yeah, I'd be happy enough taking sort of 2-1 plus about Kingsmill Coyote.
So dog guesser's selection for race 6 is trap 1, Kingsmill Coyote. Race 7 is a B4 over 450 metres. Devon Ranger in 1. Champagne Clelia in 2. Tina's Turn in 3. Pookie's Chicago in 4. Game Control in 5. And in 6, Indian Lad. Dog guesser, what do you fancy?
I do not have a clue, honestly. Yeah, I don't know. I could literally get a dice out for this race. The 3 wants the rails. I said this last week. The 4's going to edge in. The 2's going to be the sort of meat in the sandwich because the 1 never misses the break. It always cans. So that's going to be a 4 in the 2 side to stop it getting involved. And then the 3's going to lean on it. The 5's going to lead out wide, but I don't think it's seeing out its races. Even though it run a little bit better last week. But I mean, the 5's got a glorious draw, really. So I'd have to be with Gain Control. It's not a dog I'm particularly fond of. Yeah, I mean, the 1, 2, and the 3 all have to lead. The 4's probably the same as well. So I think the 1 might get round the inside there. But yeah, I'll be with the 5 Gain Control. I just think it's got a nice enough makeup. But again, it's not a race I really want to play because Gain Control's not a dog that I particularly trust. So I would be with Gain Control. And it'd probably take about 4-1 for me to actually get involved and bet it.
So Dog Guesser's selection for race 7 is trap 5, Game Control. Race 8 is a B5 over 450 metres. Moss Millet in 1. Lysander Serena in 2. Barnfield Lily in 3. Liz Duff Jet in 4. Abernathy Pearl in 5. And in 6, Pat's Buddy. Dog Guesser, what do you fancy?
I've sided with Abernathy Pearl. I thought it was a certainty to lead outside. The 3's sort of going to edge off a little bit from 3, I think. The 1 and the 2 have got similar pace to the bend. I think they might scupper each other. So I just thought the 5 would lead wide, and I thought if the 5 gets on the skin, I think it'll do a nice run. It showed promise in the few starts it's had over the 450 meters since switching from the sprint trip. Like I say, I just think this will get pretty close to the skin and maybe following on, stay around in 1 or 2. The 2 is actually about 8 weeks season, so again, she's going to be probably another 6 or 8 weeks off being at her absolute best, Serena. And yeah, I think the 1 and the 2 might one of them 2 will get round the inside, and I think the 5 will be bang on the tail of them. So yeah, I'll be with Abernathy Pearl. Again, I couldn't be short about it, but anything sort of 7-2 plus, I'd probably get involved.
So Dog Guesser's selection for race 8 is trap 5, Abernathy Pearl. Race 9 is a B5 over 450 metres. Our Colette in 1, Millcroft Chief in 2, Leatham's Mario in 3, Beach Hill Mag in 4, Blistering Star in 5, and in 6, Beach Hill Des. Dog Guesser, what do you fancy?
I'm getting sick of putting him up now, to be honest. But Millcroft Chief, he's a really frustrating dog. He just never seems to win. He's been thrown in for the last few weeks as well. Look, if he can't clear our Colette, then this is going to be the best straw he's had for such a long time. The 3's going to step off a little bit from the 3 box. I wouldn't want the 3 dog to lead him because I don't think the 3 would let him past. The 3's a massive thinker and sort of slows up the races, but the 4's going to wedge in a little bit as well. It's got a bit of early pace. So the 3 and the 4 might hit each other and he should just clear the 1 and go around. The 5, 6 and the 2 all raced against each other last week. I couldn't have the 6 from anything from that run. The 2 ran all over the 5 and got beat nothing off it. So yeah, and it's got a much better makeup today. So yeah, I'll be with Millcroft Chief. I think it's one of the better bets on the card. It'd be my 3rd in. And I think the 11-4 in the post, I think it's completely wrong, and I've been more sort of 5-4, 11-10ish.
So Dog Guesser's selection for race 9 is trap 2, Millcroft Chief. Race 10 is a B3 over 450 metres. Corin Ollie in 1, Some Gear Boy in 2, Liz Duff Ella in 3, Argabov and Gent in 4, Mosquito in 5, and in 6, Tulliota Queen. Dog guesser, what do you fancy?
This was a tricky race. Like, I still think the 4 wants closer to the rails. It's going to move in. Showed a little bit more early pace last time than I thought it had, and it chased home Edit on Lenny. Got beat about 6 lengths, but Edit on Lenny was, a class above, really. The only reason I opposed it was because of the draw. Some Gear Boy is going to edge out from 2 slightly, which gives the 1 a decent draw. Liz Duffella, has got decent early pace, but again, it's facing a draw with the 4 cutting in and the 2 sort of moving off a bit. So I'd probably take a chance and play the 1 and the 6. The 6 will probably be a big price. I'd be happy enough to take sort of 6, 7, 8 to 1 about that, and maybe the same about Corin Ollie as well. Mosquito is a dog that just chases anything, really, and it's about 6-week season as well, so I'd try and steer away from that now. But yeah, I'd be with sort of the 1 and the 6. But the 4's the fastest dog in the race if it gets a run, but I just don't see how it does get a run. So yeah, the 1 and the 6 would be a Dutch for me.
So in race 10, Dog Guesser goes Dutch with trap 1, Corin Ollie, and trap 6, Tulliota Queen. Race 11 is a B6 over 450 metres. Mashers Lass in 1, Fleetwood Daisy in 2, New Lodge Frank in 3, Lone Jet in 4, Crane Maggie in 5, and in 6, Mudross Mark. Dog Guesser, what do you fancy?
I'm with Mashers Lass. She's a tiny little thing. She's only about 22, 23 kilos. The 2 dog, Fleetwood Daisy and New Lodge Frank, all run against each other last week with the 1. The 1 led them, beat them fair and square. The 3 did get done at the corner, and also was having a look around about the third bend, and just so when he's in behind dogs, he's not interested in chasing. He's just sort of happy lobbing alongside them. I'm not a fan of the 4 dog Lone Jet, even though he's got quite a nice makeup if he was to box, but he just never seems to do so and just sort of runs up the back of dogs and stuff like that. Crom Maggie just looks like a little bit of a plod, to be honest now. I've fancied her a couple of times and she never shows sort of anything to the pace. I think it's more from that race behind Can't Kid a Kidder what I've sort of clung on to, but the last few races have erased that for me. Mudross Mark, I think, can lead out wide. And if he does, get something in his sights, he can chase with the best of them, but he never really wants to go on. So yeah, I'll be with Mashers Lass. I had her in about 13 to 8. There's 7 to 2 in the post. I think she'd be one that I'd put in the multiple along with like Chief and the Nap and the next best. So yeah, I'll be with Mashers Lass.
So Dog Guesser's selection in race 11 is trap 1, Mashers Lass. Finally, race 12, that's a B5 over 450 metres. Mulcair Dawn in 1, Culmoan Prince in 2, Leatham's Yosha in 3, Zari China in 4, Granite and Grass in 5, and finally in 6, Shay's Gift. Dog Guesser, what do you fancy?
Again, this was another race I wasn't mad keen on. I think the 2 and the 6 have to get involved. The problem with the 6 is it just never wins. I think it's like 1 from 25 or something along them lines. Look, the 1's going to lead the inside. The 3 might get round, but he's a bit of a sort of a thinking dog, is Yoshi. The 4 would have to lead against these. The 5 probably so as well. I'd probably be with the 2, Culmahan Prince. He's not going to be any sort of a price. It's just a case of the 2 and the 6 are both staying types, really strong dogs. But I think the penny's dropped a little bit with Culmahan Prince. He got held up at around about the third bend last week and he still beat the 5. So yeah, it's just a case of which one of them 2 gets a run. But like I say, Culmahan Prince is about 2 to 1 in the post. I wouldn't be a fan of playing him at that sort of price. But if he went say 5 to 2, 3 to 1-ish, then I might be interested. But I had it between the 2 and the 6 here because I think the race will slow down.
So Dog Guesser's selection for race 12 is Culmahan Prince. Thanks for watching, and make sure you click that subscribe button. Cheers, guys.